Hey everybody, welcome back to another video here at homerecordingmadeeasy.com and here on my YouTube channel. And this time out, we're going to take a first look and a listen to the AMEK 09 or 9099 by BRAINWORX and Plugin Alliance. This is a really cool new channel strip that just came out. I just downloaded it, played with it a little bit, and I figure, hey, let me turn on the camera and we'll play with it together and we'll walk through it. And I have some information about it. So let's listen to this on some drums and bass and acoustic guitars and keyboards and see how it sounds. But before we get to that, if you like what you see in this video, please consider subscribing. Also, if this is your first time here, go out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. I want to give you a $50 mixing course absolutely free. It's my gift to you just for visiting homerecordingmadeeasy.com. And if you stick around till the end of the video, I want to give you another free gift. So let's check this out. We're here in Studio One. Here is the AMEK 9099. I can't say that right for some reason. The AMEK 9099 channel strip, again by Plugin Alliance along with BRAINWORX. And I've done all of the channel strip that Plugin Alliance and BRAINWORX have put out, excuse me, over the last couple of years. I love all of them. And you can check the archive or check my playlist for Plugin Alliance reviews, and you'll see all the channel strips, the SSLs, the Neves, the Focusrite, they're all great. And here's another one here that's a little unique compared to the other one. Sounds a little bit different. It has some additional features that's not in the other BRAINWORX Plugin Alliance channel strip. So let's talk about what this channel strip really is. This is modeled after the Rupert Neve's design E9098i mastering console. And so this is a takeoff of that. It was designed by Rupert Neve. There's not many of these that are out in circulation. It's kind of a unique desk, so it's really cool that we have it here in a channel strip format. And you can see there's a lot of buttons, a lot of knobs on here, and it may look a little overwhelming, but it really isn't. Have no fear. Uncle Dave here is going to walk you through it. Let's talk about a few of the unique features before we actually walk through the plugin. Let's walk through it, and when we get to those features, I'll point them out as something as being unique. So if we start here in the top left-hand corner, we have our low cut and high cut filters here, and we can even move where those filters are, either on the input side, post dynamics, or the side chain. You have these little unique buttons here, ×3 or divided by 3, and what that does is actually changes the frequency. So for example, you can see this goes from 20 hertz to 300 here, but if you click the ×3, it starts at 60 hertz and goes to 900. So it gives you a little bit more fine-tuned control. Same thing on the high cut side. Underneath that, we have our gate section down here. Okay, you can turn that on and off here if you'd like. We typical controls that we have: threshold, range, ratio, and release, and we have a slow, medium, and fast attack. And we have a 30 dB pad here as well. Okay, so you can see that that also will change the numerical values here on the threshold by clicking this button. Underneath that, we have the high and low pass filters for the gating section as well. As we move over towards the middle, we have our dynamic section. We can turn that on and off here. We have a threshold, attack, release, a ratio knob, and then we have a knee, so more of a soft knee, hard knee kind of a setting. We have a high pass filter here. We have an auto release. And then we also have this thing called ambient. This is one of the unique features, which in reading the manual, it says it lets you hear really what the compressor in and of itself is doing, what signal it's hearing as it's compressing. And honestly, I've used it and we'll use it. I don't quite get it, to be honest. I don't know how this can be a useful feature, but it is on the, I guess it's on the original desk as well. I have to check out the Plugin Alliance manual for that. We have our makeup gain and we have our mix knob here, which is really cool. We have a limiter down here as well underneath that, also with its own makeup gain and its own mix knob. Towards the center, we have our EQ here. You could turn that on and off here. This top can be high frequency, could be a peak or a shelving EQ. Now here's another unique feature called the Sheen. And what the Sheen is going to do is this kind of changes the curve and makes it to more of a broad shape Q, if you will. A little bit more, maybe more for where you would use in more of a mastering situation, I would imagine. They say it smooths out the cuts and the boosts by using the Sheen, and it does change the tone, and we'll listen to that here. Then we have our high mids here, and again, you can click this ×2 here, and you can see how the frequencies will change, which gives you a little bit more control, and it's fully parametric. And you also have this notching button here, which you can see that, again, it changes the numeric value here when you do this, which is nice. Then we have our low mid frequency. We could turn that on and off here, and you could turn each one of the individual bands on and off right in here. Same features as the high mid. And then our low shelf, same thing as the high shelf, except that we have this thing called a glow, which is, again, similar to what the Sheen button does. It kind of changes the Q and the curve and makes it a little bit more what they say smooth out. Then we can either put the EQ pre or post or to the side chain. Over here, again, more towards the right, we have what's unique, and on all of the Plugin Alliance channel strips, which I really like, we have our total harmonic distortion here, where the more you crank that up, the more coloration and non-linearities that are going to kind of be put into the algorithm through the audio signal. Then we have our V gain. You can hear the hiss, which really just turns up the white noise. We have our TMT, which again, this is unique to Plugin Alliance, which I really think it's great that they've done this on all of their channel strips, where most companies will model a channel strip and just model one channel. So if you had a 72 channel board, they'll pick channel 3, for example, they model that, and that's what the channel strip is based on. What Plugin Alliance and BRAINWORX have done is they model all the individual channels on the board, because every one of those individual channels on an analog console is going to sound slightly different due to the age of the componentry and the tolerances and so on and so forth. And you can just use this knob and you can change that. And there is some subtle differences that happen when you do that. Underneath that, we have our beautiful meters here. We have our gain. Underneath that, we have our gate and expander, our compression, and our limiter gain reduction here. Down in the bottom, again, we have some more unique features. We have what's called a mono maker, where you can pick a frequency point and anything there will stay kind of up the middle. And then you also have a stereo width, which works really nice on things like drum buses and stuff. We'll check that out as well. You could turn that on and off here. We have our fader to the right. We have a stereo mode, analog or a digital mode here, where again, it just changes some of the tonal characteristics. You can randomize the channel here. We have it on 1, 2, but if you hit 1, it'll just randomly pick different channels on the board, which is kind of cool. And you can do that with all of the instances across all of your tracks if you have multiple instances by hitting the all button. We have our gain, output gain here, plus or minus, what does it look like? 10 dB. We have a phase flip and a mute button, and that's it. So it looks kind of intimidating, but it's like any other channel strip. It's pretty much the same. So what I have is I have a drum bus, bass bus, acoustic guitar, and keyboard bus, and I have an instance of this on all of them. And what I'd like to do now, and there's no other plugins on the session, let's just listen to this on a drum bus and just see what we kind of, what this kind of does here. I've already kind of dialed it in a little bit. And I'll turn this up a little so you can get a little bit better feel for it. So again, this is on a bus, so we can use our low cut filter here. If we wanted to. Okay, I'm not using the gate here. In the center section here, or at the compression, excuse me, you can see we're compressing about 3 to 4 dB of compression because it is on a drum bus and we're not compressing on any of the individual tracks here. Using a 4:1 ratio, slow attack. There would be a fast attack. So this is really sensitive. You don't have to touch this much to really get the attack to change. And then we have our release here, slow release, fast release, or you could put it in auto. Now what you can do is you can use the high pass filter, which is kind of nice. Change the knee setting. So if you don't want, let's say, the real low end to trigger the compressor, you can see as I turn this up, we have less compression. Or if I turn it down, now you can see the kick drum is really triggering the compressor. Now here's this ambient setting. So you're kind of hearing just the compressed signal in and of itself. Again, I'm not really sure where that would be useful. I'll have to play with it more and read the manual again, but it's just a feature there that's kind of unique. You don't see it on any other channel strip, but I'm not really quite sure for me personally how I would use that. But anyway, and then we have our mix knob. So if you want to over compress here, and you can kind of use this to do like the parallel compression thing if you want. If you want to do something like that, or you could do 100%, which is typically what I do, and then just dial back the threshold a little, or raise the threshold. Okay, and our EQ settings here, up here at 9K, I added about 3 dB. Again, this is on a drum bus, so don't want to go too crazy. I took out a little bit of mids here at 390, kind of that boxiness. And I added a ton of gain here at 50 Hertz for the kick drum. So I added 10 dB at 60 hertz. Now here's what we can do with this stereo width. Here it gets very mono. So it can really spread things out like overheads and whatnot. So if I take this away, that was our starting point, raw drums. And there we go. So it sounds really nice. I find that like the compressor and the overall coloration of this is probably not so much compared to some other channel strips. It's a little bit more transparent, which is kind of nice. You can dial up the, if you wanted to add some more THD. That's with none. So it gets a little bit more. Then you can turn down the makeup gain, the output gain, excuse me. But that's the input, sorry. We could turn down the fader to compensate. Typically, I go a little bit more conservative on these settings, especially on the V gain, because if you're going to put multiple instances, if you want to keep the noise kind of down a little bit. So there it is on drums. Now I did the same thing on bass, acoustic guitar, and keyboards. Let's listen to that quickly. Again, I won't walk through every setting. On the compression here, doing a little bit more compression. And this is not, because it's bass and it's right up the middle, there's no panning. The stereo width isn't really gonna be helpful to us here. Same thing with the mono maker. So maybe we can hear this harmonic distortion a little bit more on the bass. So it's subtle, right? As it probably should be. That's before. And on this one, I'm rolling up around 85. If I take the low cut all the way down, you'll see I have a lot more compression now as well. But with the drums playing, just kind of stay out of the way of the kick drum. Okay, drums and bass. Now we have acoustic guitar. Just a little light EQ here at around 12K, and we took a little bit out at 300. Compressing 6 dB. Low cut around 100 hertz. Keyboards, let's listen to that, and then we'll listen to them all before and after. Again, the stereo width really helps here because I have piano tracks that are panned. So you can really spread this out. This is a very handy feature. Can get a low cut way up here at around 120. So it sits a little bit better in the mix. Again, took a little out in the mid-range. Added a little bit of Sheen at 10K. That's before. After. Subtle. We'll bring this all back in. So now let's listen to the cumulative effect of everything before and after. So I'll just keep your eyes on the power buttons here, and I'll take them away and bring them back in, and we'll hear what it kind of does overall. That's before. Great sounding channel strip. Again, a little bit more on the transparent side, which is why I really like it. Unlike something like an SSL or a Neve, it has its own little certain flavor. So if you're looking for something a little bit more transparent, this is a nice desk to have. And what I love mixing with channel strips, if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I have channel strips from every company for every make and model. I love it because really the way this is intended is to put this across all of your tracks, your kick, your snare, your toms, your overheads, guitars, vocals, and the whole thing. And the cumulative effect of that is going to give you a really nice kind of a cohesive sound, like you're mixing through a real console. And this is a rare console. And so it's kind of cool that we have this in plug-in format. And again, I only have, 4 instances of this. And from a CPU point of view, it's actually, let me just see here. If I check my performance monitor, it's only running at 3%. So, I mean, I'm only running, like I said, 4 instances of this. So could you put 30 or 40 of these on your session? Absolutely. If you have a relatively new computer, you should have no problem at all. So I would encourage you to go check this out, and you could demo it. I think it's for 7 days over at the Plugin Alliance website. Really cool. If you're into channel strips and you like to have a different flavor for every one of your mixes, here's a nice flavor that you can put in your toolbox. So I want to thank you so much for joining me for this video. Now, as I said at the beginning, I'm going to give you another free gift. So if you went out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com and you got your free mixing course, take the course, check it out. If you dig my style of teaching and you want to check out one of my other paid training courses, I want to give you a 25% discount. Just use the coupon code YouTube25 at checkout. It will take 25% off any training course on my website. Again, it's my gift to you just for visiting Home Recording Made Easy and checking out the courses. And we have courses on everything from EQ to compression to mixing to mastering to recording. A lot of specific detailed training around PreSonus Studio One. So if you're a Studio One user, you'll really enjoy the courses on the website as well. And again, the 25% discount applies to those as well. So let me know in the comments below. Have you checked out this channel strip? What do you think of it? Do you use channel strips when you mix? And if you do, what are your favorite channel strips? I'd love to know. I love talking to people about channel strips. I love this kind of stuff. I use them all the time. I'd love to know what you think. Leave some comments below. And until the next video, I've been Dave with HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com, and I'll see you very, very soon. Take care.